I can say a whole lot about Jupiter and the sign of Virgo, but let me make it very clear and very concise and to put in as much information and as many details as I possibly can. So, Jupiter is the planet of luck, growth, expansion, and joy. It's very open to new possibilities, and it also rules higher learning, higher wisdom, and faith, religion. Now, the thing with Jupiter is that there is just so many doors open, so many directions, so many, different quests to go on, things to pursue, this and that, where we want to have a party, right? Because we're so, in joy and, where we can just conquer the world, light it on fire. It feels so good. We feel so abundant. But those goals and things that we want to do, what if we want to do them? You know, Jupiter rules Pisces, but the opposite sign of Pisces is Virgo, and Virgo asks us to get serious. What are the details? How is this going to be practical? How are we going to be analytical and efficient and precise to make sure that things are exactly right? To have a whole list of things written out and check off the things on the list. I've heard several astrology videos which have said, started saying, have more negative approaches over this placement. Some have more positive approaches over this placement. I am going to be having a more positive approach, but it is only fair to bring in both sides, to bring the positives and the negatives. And, I'll get to the negatives later on. But getting into it, you know, um, now I'd like to imagine that Jupiter, I think that is very, very strong in this place. It is different, but it has a lot of strength because, like the moon is exalted in Taurus. The moon is your emotions, and Taurus is all about stability and being very grounded. So it stabilizes your feelings. You feel slow. You feel concrete, feet on the ground, in the present moment. All those things. And then we have Jupiter in the sign of Virgo. So Jupiter's expansion, big possibility, but it's, like things don't, as I say, materialize. Like if we are, meditating and have all these things, we might lose them. It might be just soap bubbles that might pop. So we might need to write them down. So, Jupiter is how you get your luck. And luck for Jupiter and Virgo comes from the day to day, the daily routines, your daily schedule, keeping your health in balance, taking the right supplements, going to the gym and working out, running, physical exercise, eating right, all those things. Sixth house matters. So your work, your habits, your daily routines, the functional areas of your life. Because in doing those areas and in keeping that, higher vibration and, paying attention to the details and being very useful and efficient with the things that you are doing, luck is just going to come. the universe is going to show up, wonderful things in those ways, in those types of ways. And also, Virgo is related to being very humble. So it's incredibly humble placement. Um, Jupiter and Virgo, Virgo is the sign of serving others. It's spiritual service. Like, what can I do for you? How can I help you? How can I feed you? What can I do to make you more healthy? How can I step in and help to make this easier? Serving, doing something selfless besides yourself, all the help, herbal healing industries, such as being a nutritionist, being a doctor, or the things that involve getting into the nitty gritty, like, where things have to be precise and right, and where intelligence and having a good range of skill sets in these areas are really, really called for, like uh, writing and being an accountant as well, and really being creative, having that vision, having that idea, having that goal, and then discerning and being very precise and um, I like to say picky, but in the best way, discerning, like drawing those boundaries, like is this really right, and how is this going to work out um, in my life in some ways. So, Jupiter and Virgo, I've already talked about service and details and all of those types of things. Very intelligent um, placement as well with the information. Um, just learning. Love for learning and having a sort of palette of things that you can refer back to, palette of sources like, oh, I got this from this and I got things right. um, it is a good counterbalance for Jupiter to be in this sign, um, and so Jupiter travels through these different signs over the course of 12 years. So, you know, your peers in the school year with Jupiter and Virgo, you were all probably, with sharpened pencils, you know, prepared, like honest and hardworking and dedicated and making sure that things are status quo, making sure that the quality of this is where it should be and the best that it can be. And during the transit, it's a wonderful time for looking at your health, the areas of your life that need cleaning up, where you can really, really help somebody to become better. And the balance between not only the physical health but the mental health as well, because remember, all signs go off of their opposite sign. One cannot exist without the evolution of the other. And I will say, to meditate and to find peace, do something which connects you to the divine, which you can get lost in, where your soul feels very lifted out of the of those darker lands with the mundane things of your life, mundane areas, to where it feels so heavy hitting and unliberating. And there is this sort of, now this is where I get into the more shadowy aspects, because the shadow of Jupiter is overindulgence. And, we need to talk about the shadows. So, for example, if Jupiter is in Leo, well, it could be too big, in a way. Jupiter's in Cancer, sucked into the emotions, not really lifting out of it. When Jupiter is in Virgo, there is more of a tendency, a more highlighted tendency to look at all the individual trees, but then sometimes there needs to be a step back to look at the individual forest as well, and balancing those, balancing that in to where, um, you know, there is skepticism and there is pessimism involved. We're seeing the bigger picture and the broader vision probably needs more highlighted. Um, it needs to be more highlighted. And, the something that I will say is, I'm not going to say, astrology isn't like this. Astrology isn't, one placement is up here and another placement is down here. All the placements are here, but, it's on the same level, but it's just different. I don't like it when, especially because I have this placement, like I hear astrologers say, oh, it's not as lucky as the other placements. Well, it's lucky and it's different, in a different way, where it comes a different way, where it might come through working and attention to detail. And that might be different than Jupiter in Sagittarius. But, it's a wonderful placement to have in its own way. And, I just disagree with um, all of that, putting it down in um, negativity, because we need people like that in our world who are going to be very precise um, and conscious and, you know, into the details, serving others in a type of way where all those types of things matter. So that is Jupiter in the sign of Virgo.